Well, he's been one of the mainstays of the Labor Party for almost 2 decades, but Bill Shorten has called it a day. Joining us live now is the NDIS Minister Bill Shorten. Bill, good to see you. Thanks for your time. Congratulations on your career, first of all. Are you blushing from all this positive reaction you've received so far from both sides of the aisle, and that includes former Prime Ministers?
Listen, it's very nice, but it is lovely, and so, sure, it's great, but I wouldn't have minded some of that opposition compliment when I was running for Prime Minister, but hey, timing's everything. I feel very lucky to have served the Parliament for 17 years. No one in my family has ever come close to being in public life, and there's been some good days and there have been some bad days, but there's not a single day I'd hand back, and I'm just very grateful to my voters and people of Australia, and it's been a privilege, and you know it's a journey of people with disabilities, so I just feel exceedingly fortunate.
Well, you channelled old Blue Eyes yesterday with too few regrets to mention. What's one do-over that you'd like?
I think that the universe doesn't grant reruns. We haven't invented a time machine to go back. I think occasionally maybe I should have backed myself a little more on a couple of my judgments. I know that sounds odd. Everyone thinks politicians are very arrogant. I put a high price on consensus, but we should always remember at the end of the day that you're not going to convince everyone, and you live with yourself a long time after you live with everyone else, and people's approval is fleeting, but what really matters is getting things done. Yeah. So, you know, not that any politician's asking my advice, but I was thinking about if I could go back to my 12-year-old self and say, what advice would you give now? It's back yourself. Yeah, OK. So is there one point there that comes to mind, whether you're as opposition leader or any other time, that you would have changed? Maybe when we were proposing negative gearing and capital gains discount concessions, reforming that, all that money should have gone perhaps back in income tax cuts. But, you know, that's then. The world has changed. Anthony and the team are doing a good job now. We've brought in the tax cuts. It's a difficult set of circumstances. But maybe then, you know, lowering income tax, but property gets special concessional taxes in Australia. But the millions of Australians who go to work, well, they, you know, don't get the same deal. And so that's why I'm such a fan of what Jim Chalmers did on the 1st of July with those tax cuts. Well, just on that, I mean, when you talk about negative gearing or changes to capital gains, should that serve as a warning to Jim Chalmers or Anthony Albanese or whoever might be considering those again? No, let me be very clear. The times are different. You asked me a specific question. Sure. And I think that if you were trying to sell a policy about reforming tax, I think part of it's got to be reinvesting that in working people in this country. And that is why I think when Anthony, or the Prime Minister, in February said, listen, the Morrison plan, we were going to give a lot of tax cuts to the very top bracket, and instead they redistributed it so that 13.6 million people got tax cuts. I think that was... I reckon that's something which this government should be very proud of. OK. You've got a new gig lined up at the University of Canberra, the Vice-Chancellor there. What do you say to criticism from out there from folks who say, well, you shouldn't have a job lined up while you're actually serving in Parliament? Well, while I'm serving in Parliament, I serve the people. But I'm not one of these people who thinks, you know, the word retirement's been used. I'm not one of these people who thinks that you should... Well, for me, what other people do is up to them, so I make no judgment. But I don't want to go off and sort of become a consultant to a large, you know, ASX company or something. And I want to keep contributing to the people of Australia. I think the best thing this country's got going for it, I mean, minerals are great, but it's our people. And I think that the best path for turning disadvantage into advantage is education. So I'm looking forward to it. It's just, I want to keep serving the people of Australia. After 6 terms, though, you sort of got to make a decision. People in their 50s, one day you'll be in your 50s, Pete, but, you know, you got to weigh things up. What do you want to do? And there was a vacancy and I applied for it, but sure, I think it's a good opportunity and I want to keep working. I don't want to I mean, didn't want to, get some overseas appointment. I don't want to, do nothing. And I want to keep helping people. That's the thing about me is I really like helping. And that's helping young people and inquiring people and creating hope for the future and people fulfilling their potential. I think that's a really good thing for me.
Okay, just a final one here, Bill. I mean, are you going to miss the stoush? I know you've got a few months left to go. Are you going to miss the stoush? Are you going to miss all the abuse you and your family no doubt cop online?
I like the House of Stoush, the parliamentary debate. I know it turns some Australians off, but it's interesting. The people who actually go to Question Time, I think, find it fascinating. I'm not sure it always translates on television. I'd go back to what I said earlier. I cannot believe how lucky I've been, but I'm not going to miss some of the madness of social media. The sort of cowardly keyboard warriors, that's...
the toilet.
Just flush that one away.
All right. Bill Shorten, I hope to speak to you a few more times over the next few months, but congratulations again on your career and have a good day.